It was 6 months ago, I think, that
February,
you had. Yeah,
February.
it was February. So what has happened since? What do you recall
Well,
of what's happened?
Well, my operation, I don't know. I know I had a collapsed lung. I remember Jane come to see me, and I remember saying, I do feel bad. Then I can't remember anything else. But Jane said, well, bad that. And then I could go home, and I went home on the Friday, and on the Monday I had to go for my warfarin to our GP. And I did feel, you know, not well. And I went upstairs and I was trying to get something and I couldn't do it. So I threw things because I couldn't do it. And I remember going to go to the bathroom and I fell. And I know I hurt myself. And my husband come up because he shouted at me and I was coming down the stairs. Then I don't remember nothing then again. Until I got in the hospital, I think. And then I was in Solihull, yes. Can't remember it awfully, but then I suddenly realised they took me somewhere and I said, I'm in a stroke ward. And I didn't know I was in a stroke ward. So they said, yes, Mum, you had a stroke. And then it appears another day that I had these terrible pains in my stomach. And the nurse said, you've been eating some fruit. And I said, but not that much because I didn't eat much. And the pains were terrible and they fetched a doctor. This was night time. And then I don't remember nothing about that. But Cheryl said that then I can't remember about that either. I know I had to have blood, I think. And it appears I was losing blood from a back passage. And I thought I'd got a stomach upset because it was just pouring from me. But I don't remember that either. And then they transferred me to here, this
hospital, yeah.
And then every time a doctor spoke to me, I was crying because there was something else wrong. Then they found I'd got some fluid on my lungs. So they took that off. I mean, they were so kind and they did all the things. I mean, I had some more, when you swallowed that camera.
The camera, yeah.
It's the taste I didn't like. But I mean, they were so kind to me. But as I say, I don't really know what happened to me.
So basically, you remember obviously that night before.
Yes, I do.
But then
that.
afterwards, there's been
then,
so much happening. There's been
yes.
like times when you haven't really remembered it.
No.
Right. And now, how is your memory? Is it sort of coming back, or do you find there's big gaps still?
Not about. I can't remember about the operation. I can't remember going down to the theatre. I remember little bits of Queen Elizabeth because I remember talking to different young nurses and different things that happened there. I had another bleed in my groin, I know that, because I felt something and I said, oh, I'm bleeding. And then I was so upset because they had to change the bed about 5 times because it kept bleeding and bleeding. And then things just went kind of thing. And then, as I say, by the time I was ready to come home, I did feel much better. And what hurts, that if I hadn't have had all those things happen to me, I know I would have been doing an awful lot more. You know, because I thought I would be going down to the shops by myself. I wouldn't need someone to take me down. I'd be able to do it. Because that's how I know I am. That's how I know I would feel. And, you know, I said to the boys, 2 operations I had, the pain was so terrible after a heart operation. And I've had nothing.
The open heart operation? Yeah.
But I've had nothing.
No pain with this one?
And you know, that was one thing that was dreaded. Not so much the operation, the pain afterwards, because it was so bad. And I've had nothing. You know, that was really amazed me because I thought, can't understand it, I haven't had any pain. But then again, for about 5 weeks, I didn't know what I was doing really. But I mean, it's this. I am so pleased I've had it done. Because now I don't need to have so many pillows. I can walk round to the shop. I can walk to my little shop round the corner. And I've lost my confidence, and I think that's the stroke that's caused that. I wanted to see if it was working.
Yeah, the echo.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
the ultrasound of the heart.
Yes.
Yeah. So you've had one of those?
Yes, I've had one of those. He wanted to see that because he said, I just want to see if it's working well, and it evidently is working well.
That was all fine.
It must be working well because I've even changed curtains.
Could you tell us, first of all, what you were like in terms of breathlessness and symptoms? What you were like, how limited you were before the TAVI, and then perhaps how you find yourself now?
There was always a problem of doing things that women do, housework, shopping, going upstairs sometimes and walking to the little shop just round the corner. Bending down, a silly thing like that, bending down to pick something up. You'd think, oh, dear me, dear me.
And can you remind us, over what time period has that breathlessness crept up on you? Was it a long...
Well, because I've already had one open heart surgery with the one valve, so I'd probably got used to not breathing properly, always breathing with my mouth open and things like this. But then I knew that things were happening wrong because I could tell myself there were things that I no longer could do. And to have to admit it, it's not very nice, you know. So you knew there was something wrong. But then I was frightened to think about it really and truthfully, to think, well, is there something seriously wrong? But as I say, it suddenly happens. You think to yourself, I can do this or I can't. But the silly things that you suddenly can't go in the garden and pick things, like perhaps do a bit of gardening even. Those are the kind of things. Hanging washing on the line, silly things, such silly things, because I was very frightened to have the operation done. I'll be honest, didn't want it to have it done, but the children said, Mum, just try it. Well, I did, and I've got to admit, you were right, I was wrong. And it was absolutely fantastic because I had no pain when I had this operation. Open heart surgery gives you an awful lot of pain for quite a long time. And now I can do things. All the things that I said I couldn't do, I can now do. And that's absolutely fantastic. But it was when you said, you know, surgery, and I thought, oh, goodness me, I've been there, the pain. And I couldn't believe it. I really and truthfully, and it's such a tiny little scar. If people didn't have to have open heart surgery and something like that, that is absolutely fantastic.